Well, I think it's a funny thing to call pecs. Chesticles.
Chesticles? Yeah, that's
funny.
True. Yeah, that is funny.
I thought you were talking about testicles.
I know.
That's why Hello and welcome back to another episode of Medium Podcast. It's your host, Melissa Nami.
And it's me, Connor.
And today we've got comedian and talk show host Lola Ibarra.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Big energy. Lola Ibarra.
Yay.
Pew, pew, pew.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa, for having me on. I'm so excited.
Thank you for being here, Lola.
Thank you.
I don't know if you know this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have admitted it to you once, humbly, but I call you my comedy mommy.
You did, oh, I know you said godmother. You did tell me one time, and I was watching Griselda, the Godmother show, to prepare for this.
Dude, that show's gangster.
It is pretty nice. It is pretty nice. I love that kind of stuff.
Have you heard of that show,
No,
Con?
I haven't yet, no.
Is she a Mexican drug lord?
No, Colombian. She was a Colombian drug lord, one of the top female drug lords, and she was known as the godmother because she was so notorious or whatever.
Okay.
And so, because I know I'm Melissa's comedy I thought I was your comedy godmother. I didn't know I was
Comedy
your mommy.
mommy's always fun. Mommy.
You know, Melissa.
Chantal knows.
Okay.
It's all fair game.
All right, because I was all thinking you're having some mommy dreams about me, but not the I love you, Melissa. You know how much I love you.
Yeah, and I love you too, and that's why I say I'm like, you're my, because I remember, and we talked about it a little bit, but I remember so vividly the first time I ever went to an open mic as an audience member, and I met you.
Yes, I remember. You were sitting there. So that was an interesting day because I went there and there was some comic that I had recently had some exchanges with where we didn't vibe, and he was there and he tried to apologize to me, and you were there, and I'm looking at you and he's around and I'm like, I need nice energy. So I saw you and Chantal and I was like, I think Chantal was there.
Yeah,
but I saw you there and you were like smiling and you were like you had like this vibe too. So I'm like, hey, are you gonna do comedy? And you're like, no, I'm working myself up to that someday. And I go, do it, you should do it. And then that kind of gave me more like just a nice little vibe for what I was going through at that moment. And then I told this joke. So the person that was there, he said some things that were kind of rude. And I ended up, I'm like, you know what? There's this young comic, or she wants to do comedy. I'm gonna try to kill, right? I'm gonna try to do what I can. So I came up with this new joke about what he said in front of him, so then I could, embarrass him and stuff like that. And he comes over, he tries to apologize to me for everything. You're like, are you guys? There's like this weird energy. You're like, are you guys like not friends, or are you friends? Like you're smiling.
I could not tell. I was like, is this a bit?
Yeah.
Are they serious?
Yeah, because I was like, nah, I can't stand this mother.
Because the banter was still witty. It wasn't like F you motherfucker. You know what I mean? It was like, what you were saying was kind of rough.
Yeah.
But I was still like, if I knew you guys, I would have been just laughing so much harder. But I mean,
yeah, because I was basically saying, oh no, I can't stand this guy right here. I don't even know why he's next to me. Like if I could, I'd beat his ass right here.
I remember
smiling the whole time, and she's like laughing. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is giving me good.
I don't even know why he's talking to me right now. I'm like, wait,
is this for real? I go, no, it's as real as it gets. And I'm still smiling, laughing about it. Well, because I just need that good energy, and you had that. So I remember that. And I was like, oh, and I didn't catch you. I don't think you went up that night, right? You didn't? No. So then later I heard about you starting to do comedy and all that stuff. And I'm just overjoyed that you're doing, and you're doing a great job with it too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you're actually the first person to ever put me on at a show when we did that holiday show for your old softball friends. I forget what it was.
Yes, my friend for softball, she wanted to do a comedy show, so she wanted us to kind of roast her, so to speak.
Yeah.
But she had like changed it around the date and everything like that, and so I got you to do it for the first time, and then I've booked you a couple times since then. Yeah,
and that's crazy to me. It was such a, how do I say, overwhelming opportunity. You know what I mean? Because a little piece of me was like, oh, it's because she's my mommy. And then another piece of me was like, I think she thinks I'm funny.
I love you. I think you're funny. I wouldn't put you on if I didn't think you were funny.
That means the world to me.
You know, yeah, and I actually reach out to you for other comics that you hang out with and tell them, hey, I like them too. So
Yeah.
like, it's not just the nepotism.
Yeah, I love that. And it's cool the networking that we gain. You know what I mean? Because through just going to a couple mics, you've met a couple of the people. Not met them because you've known them, but you know, you get a little bit more exposed, and then it's like, hey, you know this person.
Yeah, there's some comics that I have just seen at the open mics. Like you, I met through the open mic. I didn't like network necessarily with other people and then come across your name somehow.
Yeah.
I met you directly at the open mic, and then when I saw you doing other things, I was like, oh, she's actually doing comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, actually, you were reaching out to me saying, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And you were recording stuff and getting my feedback, and I was like, oh, okay, my tits are starting to
You felt me suckling a little bit.
there's a little bit of
Suckling is such a weird word.
There's some lactating going on every time I got your text.
I respected your opinion because again, that night you were funny.
Thank you.
I remember what you said.
Yeah.
It's still a joke that you kind of play
I
with
still
today.
use that joke. I love that joke. I'm going to keep telling it. You know why? Because that very comic, and I'm not going to name him because he doesn't deserve that. But I heard he went to like other shows where he started saying to people that, oh, she stole that joke from me, and I was like, you insulted me.
Yeah. And you turned insult into power.
Yeah, and I turned that insult into power. Yeah, so I was like, at first I was really sad about it. I'm like, why did this guy come at me like this? And then afterwards I was like, yeah, no, you know what? I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah.
And so hearing that he's kind of saying that I took a joke from him because he decided to text me with an insult.
Yeah.
That has made me kind of double down on telling this joke continuously.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it still remains one of my favorite jokes. And
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. I know you've been to enough shows where you're like, this is where she goes and says this. This is the magic of it.
I have seen you perform a lot, and I love when I can tell, I'm like, oh, this is a new one.
Oh,
I got all excited. Like the stuff about your son. The last time we performed together was really funny when you were like, oh, his dad came to the whatever. He couldn't even tell which one he was.
That is based, a lot of my jokes are based on a true story, and that is a true story. It's not that he was cheering. Okay, so the joke is that I'm just like, oh, this guy shows up to the soccer game and he's cheering. He goes, go, mijo, go. And his son isn't on the field. So that's fucked up, right? That's fucked up. But that's not the joke was, or actually it kind of came from one day he reached out to me and he shows up to our kids' soccer practice, and he really does lean in and he's like, hey, which one's our kid? That's the true story. He leaned in like very awkwardly. He's like, hey, which one is he? And I was like, are you fucking with me? So then I had an open mic that night, and I was in the hall smoking, and I was like, this mother, and I was just so pissed. And then I told Jeff Garcia, I'm gonna shout out to him. He's my mentor. He's mentored me before, and I haven't reached out to him lately because I've just been so busy. But he's my mentor, and at that time he's all like, cool, you need to make that into a joke. You need to make that into a joke. And I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of too salty about it to think it's funny.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to make it funnier. But yeah, that is a true story. Like he really, he really did not recognize his own kid.
All the humility a fool's got to have to ask the mother of their child. Yeah. Which one is it?
And the kid looks just like him. Yeah. Like I'm like, my son looks just like him, which I'm like, you idiot.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, if your kid's old enough to run, they have distinguished features, right? It's not like a little baby.
Yeah.
That's got like a mushy face. That's like, oh, which baby is it?
Which baby is it? Yeah. Like I'm like, yeah. That was wild. It's you know what it was. It's because he's not a very tall man. I do like my short kings, which I've also said in my comment.
Amen.
Short kings. Connor comes in.
We're clipping it.
I love it. Cheers.
Cheers.
This isn't run. This isn't run beer right here. It's St. Patty's Day.
Let's mention that it's St. Patrick's Day. We're wearing green.
Yeah, we're
green beer.
I thought that was just a beer you like found in the backyard or something.
Melissa. Gotcha.
I'm like, the only beers I have are really old ones.
Did you make this in your bathtub?
No, it's mead.
Oh, it's mead. Okay, cool.
That's fun.
Yeah. So yeah, short kings. Love you guys. So he's not a very tall guy, but my son is actually a little bit not tall,
Yeah.
but he's a little bit bigger than his dad. So he was expecting like this short little runty kind of kid.
Yeah.
And why am I making excuses for him? He didn't fucking recognize his own kid. So
Yeah.
am I allowed to go?
Yeah, fuck yeah. You're
Forgot
tall
the
though.
girls.
You're pretty tall. What are you, like 5'7"?
No, I'm only 5'4".
You're tall. I'm short. Every time I see you, you're wearing heels, huh?
Yeah,
I'm gonna stand closer to you today because you're wearing sneakers. We
How
might be.
tall are you?
I'm 5'5". I'm not that tall.
Wait, you and I are the same height.
Yeah.
Like, every time I see you, you're like suckling on my tit.
I'm like, hi Lola.
Yeah, that's it. I'm always lactating next to you. I'm like, what's going on here?
Mommy, I'm telling you, Mama.
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 I thought you were much shorter. I thought you were much shorter too.
No, yeah, we're like the same height.
I am towering over you. I feel like a drag queen when I miss.
Well, because you're wearing heels a lot of the
I am
time.
wearing
You're
heels.
always so beautifully dressed.
Thank you.
You dress so
Thank
pretty.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm always trying to be a slut. So, so I do. I one day want to get confused for a
Lola,
drag
do
queen.
me a favor. Can you just put your tits on the table?
Thank you. I needed that.
My neck was getting sore.
I was like, oh my gosh. Totally needed that.
You're hilarious. You're
I'll do it again
hilarious.
later.
When
If your table can handle it.
it just breaks me your crack.
What the hell?
When did you start comedy yourself?
Oh my gosh. That's so. I'm glad you asked. I keep forgetting. My 3-year anniversary is at the end of this month.
Really?
March 28th was my first time at an open mic.
Do you have anything fun going on March 28th for your anniversary?
You know, I actually have a show at the lobby on March 27th.
Hell yeah.
But I keep forgetting it's my anniversary. So I keep forgetting to like advertise it. It's like, hey, come to my anniversary show. So,
Yeah, you need to start post that so we could share it because
Yeah.
that's nice and local. We could get people to go to that.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, so I'll send you the flyer, but I'll try to put down as my anniversary show. I haven't really, I keep forgetting, but because of that, I keep putting the date as March 28th.
Because it's your birthday, you're all used to it.
It's my anniversary birthday. Yeah, so
Plus or minus 2 days, it's just your birthday.
It's just my birthday.
Yeah.
It's my birthday. So yeah, I've been doing comedy 3 years, and I just love it. I'm having so much fun.
I love it. That's so cool.
You've been doing comedy like what? Now it's gonna be 2 years.
It'll be 2 years in September.
In September.
Yeah. Yeah, but it feels like it flew. It's crazy how something that was not a part of my life at all. I did it once and now it's been a part of my life.
Oh, I know.
Weekly.
You are kicking butt. I see your name everywhere.
Girl, I mean, you're out there working too, though. You know what I mean? It's like this thing didn't exist for you 3 years ago.
Yeah, it didn't exist.
3 years and 25 days ago, it didn't exist for you,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And now it's something that you think about daily. It's something that you aim for weekly.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
not something you take a break from anymore.
Yeah, it consumes my daily life. These bastards.
These bastards.
No, I love comedy. I've loved it. It's kind of more of a mental health type of thing, you know. What happened is, this is kind of, I guess, I don't know if it's a funny story, but I was really stressed out from work because I had this manager that was just crap, and I was getting really stressed out, and I was continuously like trying to figure out ways to vent it out, and it was the pandemic, and we were locked in, and I was like, I need something, and there was an open mic that I saw, and I just kind of said, you know what, that would be kind of fun to do that, so I signed up, and then the next day I got fired.
What?
It was a pure coincidence. But I hated my job, and I knew the firing was impending. Like, it was that stressful. Like, I was like, there's gonna be I'm gonna get fired. It's impending. It's like it's gonna be, and then it ended up happening the next day. And so like my comedy anniversary coincides with my
Getting fired anniversary.
Oops.
Do you remember your first open mic?
I do remember my first open mic. I remember I kind of sucked ass. I remember my second more, and this is like a exclusive story for you guys.
Let's go. You heard it here, y'all.
Yes.
Medium podcast, Lola, Ibarra, second open mic. Let's go.
Right. So my first one, I thought I did okay.
Yeah.
And so my second one, I just wanted to go balls to the wall, right? And so I invited like tons of people, and do you know, like, I was just starting out, so I don't know anything. I'm typing up my notes, my jokes. I'm typing them up, single space, time, what is it,
Times
Romans?
New Roman, yeah.
Times New Roman, like really tiny and shit like that. And I'm typing them
font.
up. Yeah, 8-point font. And one of my friends is going to be there, and I absolutely love her. I'm going to just say now, shout out Crystal, you know I love you. So I had like jokes prepared for her too, because I know she was always very supportive. I had a bunch of friends there. I ended up opening my mouth, and like I had like 15 people there, right?
Damn.
So, and then I go to the bartender, and I was like, yeah, I'm one of the comics. And I guess she was really impressed with the idea that I was a female comic too. So she started fucking loading me up. She's just beer after beer, and then shots and shots and beer and beer. And at this point, I didn't even know how to control myself. So I'm like, yeah, and I get up there, and I'm bombing. I'm like absolutely bombing, and I'm like, fuck this shit. So I just start reading my fucking paper. I read my paper, and I'm just reading it word for word, nothing funny. And then one of the comics ended up telling me that nobody really laughed, but I didn't care. I turned to the audience and I go, fuck you guys, I'm gonna be famous any fucking way. That my brother and his wife were there, and they saw that I was like just plastered, right? Yeah. So my brother gets mad at me. He's like, I'm taking you home. I'm all, no, I had landed another job, so the next day I was supposed to work. And I'm like, no, I need my car. You can't take my car. I have to, I have to go to work the next day. So he's all like, no, I'm taking you. Me and him got into an argument, and he like managed to like force me into the car, and he's driving me, and he kind of he put the locks on the car, but he didn't put the lock on the window. I rolled down the window, and I just roll out of the car. It was just still in the parking lot.
Oh, you were still in the parking lot. I was like on the freeway? What?
Lola need a child lock.
I rolled out of the car, and he sees me rolling out of the car. He's like, oh, fuck that. I'm done with this shit.
Oh, my
and he takes
God.
off.
That's hilarious.
That's how committed. And then I roll out of the car. My friend Crystal sees me. She's like, I saw you like fall out of the car. You pick yourself up, run back into the bar, and I'm like, photo shoot. Like I made it inside and take pictures with the comics.
Come back, guys.
My eyelashes were like right here. It was such a mess, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm down with this. I think I'm committed to this comedy thing. I just like fell out of a moving vehicle.
Like, I gotta get the fuck out of this.
Yeah.
I gotta go back to the comedy.
I gotta get back to the comedy now. So that's how.
Where did you start at? Was it in Riverside, or where was it at?
Yeah, Riverside.
Which parking lot did you fall out?
It was I can't even remember the bar. It was like a Mission. You probably performed there before. No, it was like this little
Mission Tobacco Lounge.
No, it was Harupa Valley. Harupa Valley Mission. I can't remember the name of the bar, but that was a fun spot. Also, they had a bartender that was a stripper, and I do a lot of boob jokes, right? And so she put her tits back on the table. They had to. They were getting
Mommy.
Look, I need my heels so she could just lactate. Start suckling right on them. But yeah, no. So I do a lot of boob jokes, right? I do a lot of boob jokes, and the bartender, she had a nice pair. She had a great rack, and I love other women's boobs too. So it's not like I barely like mine.
You know when dudes drive like Jeeps and they'll see another dude in a Jeep and they're like,
yeah,
is that when girls with good tits?
That's how. We do like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
hey girl. So I told a boob joke, and that was like her calling card or something like that. She runs to the stage and she starts showing her boobs. Now she actually exposed her boobs, and I was like, what the. Okay, this show turned into something else. Luis Noriega.
Now it's a cool show.
Yeah, it's awesome. Luis Noriega, and I think that's where we trauma bonded.
You guys saw the same tit.
Yeah. Drunken Sailor was like, "This is great," and then another woman who also worked there but wasn't working there that night. She ended up also showing her tits, and I was like, This is. Can
you write down the address to that bar?
Why can't I remember the name of that bar? It was like a total biker bar and everything. It was really sketchy looking. The parking lot was so scary.
That's cool. I mean, if you're gonna be anywhere and you're having food, drinks, laughter, and then titties.
Yeah. What? Yeah. And it's not even the first. It's not even the last time. That was the first time that I've had a woman expose her boobs like that. to me. But I mean, every time I go out places, women want me to either touch their boobs, they want to touch my boobs, or they want to expose their boobs to me. Like, oh, you look beautiful. Oh, you have a nice rag. Really? Thank you. And then I'm like, I'm not the authority on this. I'm not a Simon Cowell.
Connor and I can take over your badge if you have like an official identification.
Yeah, that's a superpower I'd like to have.
What was it? Remember FBI? It was like federal booby investigators. Me and Connor can be in the FBI.
Yeah, you should wear your little suits with say FBI and then like.
How crazy. I mean, that means, and also like besides the fact that it's titties, she's whatever, she's down for a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She saw an opportunity and it's like, what the hell?
She went on there and she did it. And I was like, hey, props to you. But then everybody looks at me like, hey,
you
can't just leave her alone. Like, yeah, it's like leaving somebody hanging, right? When they try to give you a high five. I was like, no, this is not.
Well, I draw the line of talking about them. I'm not going to show you them.
It's so much work. Mine are real, so they're not quite like as buoyant or whatever. There's not so much. They were like,
they just stay there.
Yeah, they were just there. She just had to remove. I'm like, I had to pick up off the ground, troll around. It's a lot of work, so I don't expose my
They take
boobs.
effort.
Yeah, they take a lot of effort.
What a fun show. I mean, that sounds like fun.
There's shows that are fun with me,
It's the bartenders can make a difference though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially like, it's a silly reference, but going to Brooks Bar, the Riff Night open mic, it's like sometimes when there's not a big audience, it's like the people that are there to see the bartenders, or there was an OnlyFans bartender there.
Oh,
she looked like a Russian sleeper agent, dude.
Oh,
She looked
really?
like if you said some word, she would just stop everything and throw down democracy. It was she had some look to her.
Oh, that's funny.
But they make it fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, the bartenders make it. Bartenders, we comics love you.
Yep.
Wish we had money so we can tip you.
We always say it. Tip your bartenders.
Tip your bartenders, yeah, but we never ourselves. I try when I'm watching a show. I try to do it.
That was always the best when I was bartending and there was like a show going on. They would say something like that. I'm like, yes,
bring that
Thank
person
you.
back.
Give me money.
Yeah. No, yeah. We try. I try to remember that. I do a lot of hosting, and that's part of the thing.
That makes
but
sense.
she's absolutely right. The bartenders make it or break it. A good show is based off of bartending a lot of times too.
They're part of the entertainment.
It's not just the entertainment though, it's the environment they create at the bar. You know what I mean? A good bar has good bartenders. You don't go to a place that has just like a stick in the mud bartender and you're like, oh, I love this place.
Well, the show that we did, that bartender was really, like, she was in the back, she was like laughing, trying to calm down. And we did, Melissa and I did a show, and there was a lot of regulars there, and then there was people there to watch the show, which is really hard when you're doing comedy. That's a challenge that sometimes there's regulars and then there's people that are there for the show, and the regulars aren't there for the show, so they have no reverence for the comics. Like, if the comics out there, they're over there talking over them or whatever. And that bartender, I remember, was trying to calm the people down in the back.
Yeah, they were rowdy.
Yeah, they were really rowdy. It was a lot. They were being really rowdy, but she was back there, and when I went back there, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. So she was giving all this energy around to everybody, so I really thank you.
It's big. It's a difference.
Yeah, it is. It's a big difference.
So you mentioned Jeff Garcia, your mentor.
Yeah.
I know that he's somewhat of a
Interesting.
like Latin, like he's known amongst the Latin Mexican community quite a bit. Like I don't like, would it be considered a household name? Like people know him.
Yeah. I actually, the reason he even mentored, so what happened is, I had a friend who would do a lot of shows and these little restaurants and stuff like that. And he did a mic at a restaurant that Jeff used to frequent because he was really good friends with the owner. And Jeff just happened to be there. He actually wasn't there for the show. He wasn't there for any other reason, just to like kind of grab something to eat, meet with the owner, and then leave. And so I saw him because to me, in my childhood, he was a household name. He was a big deal. He was also like on Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron.
He was on Jimmy Neutron, and he was in Ice Age. That's
he was
what
in
I know
Ice
him
Age.
from.
Yeah, and then he was also on Real, the show Real, or the movie Real. So he's kind of what's that called? Barnyard. Barnyard. It was this other show. I didn't watch a lot of the cartoons. I just remember him being like this young up and coming. Well, when I first heard of him, he was kind of up and coming, and then he just kind of blew up too.
Yeah.
So he's a really renowned comic, and I was really surprised that he was there. So I went right up to him and I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in getting into comedy." And then he's like, because he has his like grumpy, grouchy voice and stuff like that. and then I was talking to him, and he was like, "You know what? I'll take you." And then so, very begrudgingly took me on, and then I started working with him, and I've been working with him. When I met you, I was working with him a lot more. Right now, I'm kind of doing my own thing, so I don't work with him as much. But I do have a lot of love for him anyway, so it doesn't really,
That's kind of how, like, you mentioned he's your mentor. You're my mommy. So.
Yeah. That's how comedy's supposed to be. We're a community, like everybody kind of looks at us and they're like, well, I mean, I'm not separate from the rest of the population, right? But you're doing comedy to make other people laugh, but sometimes you need support to keep yourself laughing, and it doesn't come intuitively sometimes. So like not the making other people laugh, but it's just keeping that energy going. Yeah. So it really helps when you have a community of people to kind of help and guide you and stuff like that. So like you were there, I know you look at me as your mommy, but you were there to help me like through that moment where I was kind of like, I hate this guy. Yeah. Well, so we laughed it off.
I joke when I say mommy, it's more so like you were the first person to be nice to me. You approached me. You made me feel welcomed. Yeah. You made me feel as though comedy wasn't so far out of my reach, because I remember the way that I remember it is I remember that exchange happened, like it went down, and then I remember you sat there and you're like, do you mind if I smoke with you girls? Yeah. And you had a cigarette sitting down with Chantel and I, you were drinking your beer, and you mentioned, you're like, oh, there's not a lot of women in here, I've been doing it for only a year. And you told me that, and you're like, I think the way you said it was, all I started with was getting up or something like that. Like you're like, it all started with me getting up there. And then you gave me a little bit of, you're like, oh, have you been writing? Yeah. And we talked about that. I told you I have been, and you gave me writing advice, which I still use to this day.
I did, yeah, and you did tell me because I remember I saw you do a show and it sounded like that same structure. Yep. And I was like, oh shit, someone actually listened to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm just talking out the side of my neck.
No, and it's not funny, but it's so useful. It's ironic. Like that bit of advice that you gave me in passing the first time we met is advice that I've carried with me. Yeah. And it's advice that is kind of structured the way that I write. And then it helps with that whole putting tags in your jokes, right? It's like, this is what I want to write. What am I trying to say here? What can I say that's funny? Yeah,
dissecting, you know what I mean? It back. Yeah, doing this. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. I don't even take that.
Well, you taught me take real life and make it funny.
Yeah. No, and I remember I was like really excited because I really do like the idea of women being in comedy. Like the reason I told you, like, you just have to get up there and do it. It took me 20 years to get up there and do it.
That's how long you were flirting with the idea?
Yeah, I was flirting with the idea. Like my sister, who does my that logo that I give you for my air fresheners and whatever.
Tits on a stool.
Tits on a stool. Yeah. She, as soon as I told her I did comedy, all my brothers and sisters, they were like, "Oh, she's great." So here's a little background about me. I actually in 2015 I was diagnosed with bipolar depression. Oh. So, you have your manic and you have your depression, right? And so sometimes when I do things that are off the wall, it's like immediately labeled as mania. So everybody's like, "Oh, she's going through a manic episode." And I maybe was, I don't know, but like it is kind of concerning for the people around me when they see me do crazy things, because they're like, is this a normal behavior that she actually wants to engage in, or is this like her having the stages of manic depression? And you really just can't tell, right? Yeah. So my brothers and sisters, they were like worried, because they're like, this is really out of character for her. Yeah. And one of my sisters, the one that does my air fresheners and everything, she's like, no, she talked about this 20 years ago. But I was always very shy, and I was always very like kind of I like public speaking and all that stuff. I was like totally against it. Like I was so anxious. I would just get anxious about it. And so
I think it's like one of people's like.
Yeah,
together, cumulatively, it's like the biggest fear people usually have.
Most people have a big fear of public speaking.
It's like death, public speaking.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, let me just go for death.
Take me, Jesus.
So you're absolutely right. That's what I heard too. That's like one of the biggest things, right? So I didn't like it, and the sister that remembers that she was always very outgoing, and She had done drama and some and like school plays and all that stuff. So I was like, I'll write your jokes and you do the comedy. And she's like, why would I do one? I'm funnier than you already. Why would I need you to write my jokes? And then two, like, why don't you just do it? And I'm like, no, I'm very awkward. So I was like, no, I can't do it. And it just took me 20 years to finally, and it was kind of just when I was having that moment with my work where I needed some kind of outlet, and I had been flirting with this for so long.
It pushed you there.
It just took me to that. I actually, I'm not going to name the comedian, but I was dating a comedian for a while. And the reason I met him is because I went to a show to see if he did a show at like a restaurant. A lot of comedy, like the comedy scene in Southern California is that comics book, like go to businesses and then book shows there or whatever. So it's not necessarily always a comedy venue. Yeah. And so this comic, I saw him and he started flirting. I went to the show just to see if I could do comedy. And then I met him and then we started, doing this whole other thing. And I was like, I'll just shout.
I think you're funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're funny.
I think you're cute. Oh, yeah. Then,
you want to be funny together?
Yeah. No, but we didn't do comedy. Like, he didn't know I wanted to become a comedian.
Got it.
I just showed up there. Like, for me, I just went there to want to see if I could do it. And then I saw him. I'm all, oh, hell no. Because he was really funny. He was really good. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. And then me and him started talking.
Do I know him?
You do. I mean, I don't want to
say the name. We'll bleep it.
Okay. Well, you'll bleep it, right, Connor? Yeah. You got this?
I don't know.
You don't know him? He runs a show in Bruce's. You should go to Bruce's.
Do I cut this out too?
No, go ahead. Keep this one in there. Okay. You should go to Bruce's in Santa Fe Springs.
Okay.
Every Wednesday there's a show. If you show up, go to the host. His name's Sebastian. That's not the name of the person.
Okay.
Go to Sebastian and say, hey, Lola told me that told me to come by and say hi to you or whatever, right?
Mommy, then, she's trying to get me on shows. Mama. Thanks, Mom.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of comics looking for female comics.
Yeah.
Because, you want some diversity, and women have a perspective. That
I usually feel like I'm typically a diversity
the diversity hire. Yeah, you're the diversity hire for sure. But you don't look it, so that makes it easier.
Oh, really? Cool. I'll take it. I don't look like a woman, or I don't look gay. Which one is it?
All of them.
You don't look like a woman. Okay, that's cool.
I'm just kidding.
No, I know. What a fascinating perspective, because that means you're kind of, how do you say it? Like, you're saying women in comedy, but then you were also kind of like exposed to the wolves originally.
Yeah. Originally, I was like, I kind of met him, and I would go to his shows, and I would like meet other comics but not really talk to them much. But I was just kind of seeing what it was like, and then when the pandemic, so I've been flirting with this idea for like 20 years till I finally worked up the nerve. That's why when I saw you, I was like, do it now, because you're gonna flirt with this idea for like 20 years, and then you're gonna come
you kind of were speaking out of hindsight, like you're like, I wish I did it sooner.
Yeah, I wish I had done it sooner.
Yeah,
I mean, in some respects, yes. I'm a firm believer of like, you are where you're supposed to be, so then I was so awkward, and like I had my own little insecurities or whatever. I probably would have been snorting coke everywhere I found a place to do it. So glad I waited.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, but like, if you want to do it, the thing is though, if you're flirting with that idea, it's not going to go away. You might as well just take the plunge, do it, and then see what happens. And you did, and I'm so happy.
I'm so happy I did. I was shout out Hector Lara. He's the guy who I was at the Retro Taco open mic, and he was hosting. And he had noticed that I kept on showing up to the mics. And he was just like, put it in front of me. He's like, did you come with something prepared? And I'm all, he's all, just do it. He's all, same thing you said. Yeah. It starts by getting up there. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, if this is what everyone keeps saying. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Yeah. I had ordered food, stopped eating. I'm like, I'm going to try it.
Oh, really? So that was that after so you met me at the Brooks. You didn't do that, Mike.
Girl, it probably took me almost 2 months to actually get up.
Oh.
I was so nervous. And it's funny, like, I think it was a month in, I was ready to sign up at Brooks. And I was hanging out outside, and I'm not going to say the dude's name. I don't know him personally, but I was hanging out with Chantel. They were setting up. I was telling her, I was like, I'm going to put my name on there today. Right. And then I start eavesdropping. You hear people talk, right? And I heard a dude, and he's all, women are never funny. I get so annoyed every time they go up. It's just a waste of 7 minutes. And I'm like,
BS, right?
I was like, never mind. I'm not going to sign up today. And then I waited another month.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that sucks.
Yeah.
No, look, let me tell you this. The women are not funny thing. I will admit this. I subscribe to that idea for a little bit, right? Because, and now I realize different. It's not that we're not funny. And actually, the reason I want to do comedy is to show women are funny, because a lot of the things that I have conversations with my homegirls. I have these friends. They're so raunchy. They're so the worst. I have a different tribes of women, and they are so funny. And I have varying. My mom, for example, she's not raunchy. She's very classy, hilarious, funniest person I know. My friends, we send memes to each other about all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm like cracking up, right? But you don't see that on comedy, right? And then I started doing comedy, and then I realized the reason you don't. I think that the reason a lot of women aren't doing comedy is because it's difficult. A lot of times when you're a woman, like you, for example, you and Chantal, you guys are building your home together and stuff like that. So you guys don't have the time, you don't have the time to commit 100% to comedy, you know? And I meet a lot of male comedians that maybe they're fathers, but their wives are taking care of like the kids. Yeah. So it alleviates some of them, some of the time that they need to kind of get out there and do the mics and stuff like that. Me, for example, my son is now, when I started doing comedy, he was 13 or just turning 13. So he was kind of a little bit older. So he wasn't as like needed me there all the time. So that helped me.
And you were still super mom though, because I remember you'd come in your referee clothes, your cleats. You would be changing out of your cleats because you would be at a soccer game.
That is so true.
So you are it's being a superwoman.
Yeah,
sometimes,
it was a lot. I am right now.
Mad respect, Lola.
Yeah, thank you. But I got funnier as he got older. I was able to get commit less to him and more to the comedy. So I feel like I'm funnier now, but yeah, I remember.
It's not even like commit less. It's more like you can more like he can do his own thing a little more, and you can focus on yourself again a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And
independence.
Independence. Yeah. And so, but you're right. Like I'm laughing because shoot, I showed up to in cleats.
Yeah, you were ready to go.
I did. I was there in cleats. I don't know if I was wearing a referee uniform, but I had the cleats on.
That's diligence.
I forget. Yeah, I forgot I had the cleats.
That's on. Dedication.
Yeah, I'm also C's Reynoso. Yeah. And I forgot he came up to me. Yeah, brother. He's a good guy. Yeah. He saw me. Those are pretty cool cleats. And I had no idea about.
So you just finished golfing or what?
No, he knew they were soccer cleats. He's like, you play soccer? I'm like, nah, I was just refereeing a game for whatever reason. I bought these cleats because I just like yellow because yellow goes with referee. It's just something dumb, but but that's when I realized that the reason it's difficult for women to be comedians is because we have these commitments to our family and then we're not as encouraged to. People don't encourage us intuitively. Like people are like, female comedians aren't that funny and whatever, you know? Yeah. You don't see a lot of that. You don't see a lot of female comics even in, more mainstream type of places. So it is one of those things where I'm like, why aren't we out there? We're funny. I would hang out with my friends. We are funny. Yeah. And, here we are.
I think that's something that's being recognized more now. Because that gender, that binary gender discretion with it is kind of getting shooed out the door. Yeah. Which is cool because they're also realizing some dudes aren't that funny.
A lot of dudes,
I would say most dudes.
Most dudes are not
that funny. So that's the thing is it's just most people aren't funny if we're going to be like honest, but then there's people who are. And then there's people who are too shy to get up on stage, right? You talked about the people around you. Yeah. And then it's like the few of us that are willing to get on because like me and Connor, we grew up together. I think he's hilarious. He doesn't want to try stand up.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, everybody in my family's hilarious, and I'm the only one doing stand up. And they're like, "What happened?" No, but back to that point though that you said. So like, you sit there and you'll have a lineup, and the lineup has like 8 comics. Maybe 1 or 2 females are on there. Yeah, and you'll have 6 male comics. Yeah. So out of all those comics, the one that rises up and is usually the funniest is one of those male comics that's been doing it for a long time. So you walk away and you only remember the 2 female comics and you're like, I don't remember them being funny. That guy was funny. See, guys are so funny. And you're like, you didn't think the other 5 guys were funny. You only thought one of those. So like the numbers game. Yeah. You're looking at 6 male comics, and one of them, rose above and was the funniest. Yeah. And then the 2 females, well, we're already, like, the ratio's off already. Yeah. You're only having 2 females, and out of those 2 females, you had not that funny, and then you had 6 guys, and out of those 6 guys, 5 of them were not that funny. Yeah. 1 guy rose above that. 1 comic out of all those, whatever, 8 or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we work against. Everybody's thinking, well, no, the female comics that I book aren't funny. It's like, well, they're starting out. Everybody's starting out.
Yeah. It's annoying to me a little bit, especially because, like, as far as art forms go, I feel as though it's like the only one that's really, like, divided like that. You know what I mean? It's like there's actors, actresses, they're all getting Grammys and Emmys, whatever the hell. It's not like, oh, women are better drama actors than men. Yeah. There's room for both. Right. In that kind of space, right? Yeah. Same thing with, unless I'm wrong, is there any type of shit with music?
Well, yeah, there's always people that are gonna want to divide, you know what I mean, and be like, oh, I don't like women musicians. I mean, you remember, like, even when Paramore came out, like, people were like, I don't want to listen to Paramore. Oh, she's got a chick singer. Ho ho ho.
Yeah, you can't do punk, pop punk, and be
that stuff still kind of happens, but I think it's way less prevalent than it was back in the 2000s.
Yeah, I think comedy is like the last of those kind of switching over art forms. You're right, because even with actors and actresses in the movie industry or whatever, there was, like, the wage disparities, right? There was Viola Davis, black actress, talks about how she didn't get paid a lot of the money that she felt she was owed, and she's one of the top premier black actresses, right? And who else was saying that this sucks because all I can think of is Cookie from Empire, but
okay,
I can't remember
her. The wages, right? But, like, it's the ability to do it.
Yeah, and nobody turns around and says, "Oh, Kate Blanchett isn't as good as Al Pacino."
Yeah,
like, nobody ever does that kind of stuff, right? So, no, I get it. And then with us, it's we get scrutinized, but like I said, it's just the numbers game. You have 6 comics, most of them are guys, and the one that stands out as the funniest winds up being a guy, so you discard the women that were even on the show. They're not funny, they're just not funny, and so it is one of those things.
Doesn't it feel good walking away, though, knowing you always make people laugh? You do.
I am a bad bitch. you know what I am really proud of the fact that I do feel like I'm not just but my jokes are mostly sexually charged, right? Yeah. And they're mostly about my tits. Yeah. That's most of my comedy. But I am going to start trying to write differently, but still, like, the reason I tell those is because I was so sexually repressed. I was a Catholic girl. Like, I'm Catholic still. There's a lot of things from my faith that were.
What'd you give up for Lent?
Pussy.
How'd you get your pussy off of you?
She removed it.
You could just take it off.
You just take it off. No, I don't hang out with my cat right now. Stay away from my cat. The fuck?
So you were raised Catholic. You kind of walked that straight line.
Yeah, I did. It was very conflicting because it's very oppressive to women, right? Yeah. And so now that I'm older and I had these friends that I grew up with that were very, like, open and would say all kinds of crazy things, and I would blush. I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't be saying those things, right? And then after a while, I'm like, why am I repressing myself like this? And so that's when I started seeing, okay, no, we're funny, and so now a lot of my jokes are, like, just kind of off of that repression that I said. Like, I'm trying to, I'm venting it all out. This is me doing my vent sesh about it. And then my boobs too, my my boobs. No, if you saw pictures of me, like, growing up, I was like this twig. I was, like, so painfully skinny and awkward and stuff like that. And all my friends, like, they were, like, maturing really young, and I was still, like, this awkward tomboy, looking thing, right?
Yeah.
And so so I was like, dude, I just got to be smart, because I'm not gonna have the cute looks. Like I'm gonna be ugly. Like there's an ugly duckling. I don't think I'm gonna hit that swan stage. I'm just gonna stay this way, right?
I always say there's looks and there's personality.
Yeah.
I chose personality.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I better start being funny, because I'm not gonna get it on the other stuff, right? So I really just thought I was gonna be like this just awkward, skinny, like weird misfit of a kid, right? Yeah. As an adult too, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna. And then all of a sudden they came in, and I was like, the fuck? Like I was surprised. I'm as surprised as anybody. Even my mom, one time I had an accident, and I was at the hospital, and so they had to tear open my shirt. My boobs were all exposed.
Holy tits!
Yeah. Like I had like this weird accident where I got burned and everything like that, and then opened up my shirt, and my mom's sitting there, and she's like sitting next to me bedside, and now I'm better, and I'm like healing, and the doctor's like, she's gonna be okay, nothing bad, whatever. And mom's like, hey, now that you're better, can I just ask you one question? I'm all, what, Mom? Are those real? Mom, what the hell? You gave these to me. Like I'm on morphine, and I'm barely able to. Like, Mom,
She thought you got a boob job.
She thought I got a boob job. I was
on the low.
That was actually the most like that was a compliment for her.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So like they just came in.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having fun with these.
Yeah.
Let's play some soccer.
Yeah. It's funny
Bouncing
when you
among
say
things.
it. It's funny when you say it like that too, because I'm like realizing, I'm like, the more you say it, our material is so opposite.
You do not talk about your boobs.
No, I don't talk about my boobs. I don't talk about sex. I'm pretty I try to be all silly, like silly goose, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I talk a lot about, because I was so repressed for so long. Like I was just always trying to be the good little Catholic girl, and I just couldn't do it. And then finally I'm like, you know what, I just need to be myself. And this is me.
I love it though.
Yeah, sexually charged. And it's girl.
I mean, you don't have to reduce it to that. You know what I mean?
But it's fun.
It is. And it's also like the way that you play around with it on stage, because your material does get a lot of audience, especially like dude feedback. Sometimes they're like, yeah. And you're like, and you're so good. You sound so cool when you say motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're all, shut the fuck up, motherfucker. I'm like, you sound cool when that comes out of your mouth. I don't sound cool when I say that.
I didn't even know I used that word.
Do you? Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I do use that
word. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm like, I feel like you've said it, and I was like, that sounds, it sounds cool coming out of your mouth.
Thank you.
I feel like it sounds like a 5-year-old saying a bad word for the first time. Like, yeah, motherfucker.
You are what I thought I was gonna grow up and look like.
Really? Glasses.
I wore glasses. I had LASIK eye surgery over 20 years ago, so I wore just the big glasses.
I always tease that I look like I'm ready to either do a kickflip or eat pussy at any time. You know what I mean? It's like, which one is it?
Well, that's why I made that joke, because people. There was one time a guy approached me, and I thought he was like hitting on me and all this stuff, and then this is Facebook. I look at his Facebook, and he's like. And he had his wife right next to him. I'm like, hey, bro, you were hitting me up. He's like, oh, yeah, no, I was thinking about a threesome, because, you know, you look like you like women. I'm like, that's the vibe I get.
Who do you think I am?
And then you said yes.
Yeah. I get it.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
You look just like you. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what it looks like. This is what I'm saying.
What's the age difference between you and your sister?
My youngest sister is 15 years younger than
15
me.
years? So she's the one who knew that you wanted to do comedy.
No. The one that I wanted to do that I told I'm the oldest of 6.
That's a big age gap.
That's a big family.
Yeah, well, it's because there's a lot of us between.
That's the same age gap between my oldest brother and I, 15 years.
Yeah. My youngest sister thought I was her mom for a little bit. I was like some kind of weird Jack Nicholson type. But you know,
Mommy?
Jack Nicholson. Yeah. She thought it was like, is there like some kind of hidden family secret we're trying to keep or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, she really thought.
What?
Yeah, she really thought I was her mom for the longest time. And I was like, nope, not your mama.
I swear to God, you're just my sis.
Yeah, you're just my sis. And then when she saw how crazy and out of control I was, she's like, yeah, I'm glad you're not my mom. That's cool, huh?
So is one of your middle sisters that?
Yeah,
that remember
my
that?
sister that follows me, she's 5 years younger than me.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and she beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. Like I used to tell her she should have got into modeling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so I would look at her and she was doing like she's got this great energy to her. She's always just really like up and, you know, really funny and vivacious and all that stuff, right? So I was like, yeah, you should do comedy. And like I said, I was really awkward for the longest time.
Yeah.
So even when I got into like my 20s, I was still kind of awkward. Sometimes I would try to like, you know, but I was for the most part just very awkward.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think there's funny stuff that I could write, but I'm like, I'm not going to perform any of this stuff. So I told my sister, because she was so vivacious and she was doing plays and all that stuff. She had all this crazy confidence and I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why. That's why she like did my she's
artistic.
She did my air freshers. I said, hey, could you help me do some merch? And
They're cute.
Thank you.
They're
Thank
creative.
you. Yeah. And if you look, they're even like my boobs are lopsided in them. So
I'll take a picture of it. We'll post it here for people to see the air freshener.
Yeah. You need to see.
We'll zoom in on the lopsided boob.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, hey, you got my lopsided. Yes, sis, I know you.
Aww.
She did that on purpose.
She knows which one's bigger.
She knows which one's bigger and everything. I was like, that is.
Do men have that? Do you guys have a bigger chesticle? Not testicle, like specifically your chest.
Like actually my chest?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I guess I could have just said chest.
I would assume so.
I know, you went chesticle. I'm like,
I for sure
Well, I think it's a funny thing to call pecs. Chesticles.
chesticles? Yeah,
That's
that's
funny.
true. Yeah,
I
that's
for
funny.
sure thought you were talking about testicles.
I know.
That's why I... That's why I clarified. I'm like, I don't want anyone to think I'm talking about balls. Those are gross.
but the answer is probably yes. I'd assume so.
Yeah.
Well, now that we mentioned
both.
balls.
For balls,
Yeah,
yeah.
balls, right? There's always one ball bigger than the other.
There's an arm that's longer than the other.
I'm like, I remember. Yeah. I do remember one. Not you, Connor. But from most of the studies that I've done, that I've conducted.
For all your mouth.
Connor. There's a magic to me.
She's got the ability to read like ball diameter in her cheeks.
No, Connor, it's the left, right?
It is actually, yeah.
I told you. I didn't feel like I was wrong.
Are these This is ridiculous. You're so funny.
It's terrible. But yeah.
Let's talk Lola.
Yes, let's talk Lola. Okay, so
Which is a talk show, not a podcast.
It's not a podcast, it's a talk show. My producer is very keen on telling me to tell everybody it is a talk show.
What does your producer think the difference is?
Because he says the podcast, you have mics and people talk right into a mic. We're sitting there like as a table.
Gotcha.
And I have like, I have guests and I give them like a topic that we're going to discuss. And then once they're there, we kind of go on and talk about that topic.
Gotcha.
So
I have examples, like some topics you guys have talked about are like healing after breakups, gender roles in relationships when it comes to boundaries or paying. And
oh wow, you really have been listening.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did research too.
Thank you.
So, but it seems as though you take like relationship style topics, and you guys discuss those types of things.
Yeah, we dissect them. Okay, so the genesis of the whole show was that it's produced or filmed at Crown Peach Studios. The Crown Peach show is Chris Marie. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she started doing her own show, and she ended up turning like this office into a studio.
Cool.
And so she would invite me on to do this show called He Said, She Said. And that show was like, you would talk about a bunch of like different things within male-female relationship dynamics, right? And the producer of that show is this guy Nelson Miller. And Nelson Miller, He Said, She Said, but some of these topics probably need to be elaborated on because you would do so many of them and you just do rapid fire answers to them. So he's like, yeah, we probably should want to elaborate on some of these topics. So I was kind of at that time a frequent guest on He Said, She Said. So he reached out to me, said, you want to do your own show? And then I was like, sure. And I wanted to call it Big Tit Energy, but he he said the advertising for that would be pretty, like, marketing that would be limited. So we decided on Let's Talk Lola.
Which is great, by the way. I love that name.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Catchy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, when I told my sister, she's like, where's the comma? I go, yeah, there should be a comma. And sometimes I forget the comma. So it's like, Let's Talk Lola, or like it's either Let's Talk Lola or Let's Talk About Lola type. It sounds like that. So, but we've done that show. We've done all kinds of topics. And because some of the topics there, I guess, could be a little bit on the heavy side, because we did do like toxic masculinity, for example, one of the topics, and that got kind of heavy. So I try to invite comics to lighten the mood, and it works sometimes. Is
it a comedy talk show, or is it meant to be more deep dive type of thing? Like more philosophical.
It's supposed to be a kind of a cross of both. You know, we want to touch on these topics, and we do kind of do a deep dive, but we also want to be entertaining too, because then it could get really dry. So yeah, and I can get really dry because I read about these things all the time.
Well, you're a passionate person. When it comes to certain causes that you truly believe in, and you're very outspoken about that on social media with your material. There's you advocate for a lot of things, especially when it comes to women's rights and stuff like that. Thank
you. Yeah. Like the right now, what I'm being consumed by mentally all day, every day is like reproductive rights for women, right? Because and this gets kind of heavy for me. We're in March. This is Women's Month or whatever, and I think for me it's a sad thing to kind of consider that women's reproductive rights have been compromised in some states. Like 22 states are banning abortion, right? And I get the idea, the like moral perspective on it, but for me, the reason this topic is kind of close to the heart for me is that I was in Texas over 20 years ago, and I ended up having a miscarriage. And so a miscarriage is a spontaneous abortion. And so to objectively differentiate between a spontaneous abortion and a deliberate one isn't as easy as everybody thinks. So when I went to the emergency room, I'm bleeding everywhere. I'm scared. I'm like young and scared and like don't know what's going on. And so the doctor does an ultrasound and they don't find a heartbeat anymore. So they're like, hey, look, right now you're bleeding everywhere. We can't find a heartbeat. So what we suggest for your own, to reduce further complications or future complications is we'll perform a D&C, which is I think dilation and curettage, right? So they go in, remove the fetal remains, and then I'm left to cry, mourn, the loss of not a life, but a loss of a potential life or whatever, right? So grieving, all that stuff. Now in Texas, because of these abortion bans, if a woman shows up to the emergency room, and she's the same exact scenario, she will get turned away, told to go home. Because if the doctor removes the fetal remains, it's considered an abortion. And so I didn't know that. Yeah. So that's why it's so crazy, because so they remove the fetal remains, and they would have to turn to a board and say, hey, the reason I removed these fetal remains is because there was no heartbeat. We don't have evidence of that. All we have is evidence that this pregnancy terminated. And for all we know, she just wanted to terminate because she didn't want to have that baby. Right. So then in Texas, it's like, it's icky. It's icky to know that. And I sit there and I think, I just and this was in Texas. This has happened to me in Texas. So I narrowly escaped, let's say 20 years later, but it's still there's women that went through the same thing that I went through. And now they have to sit there and suffer through it. And there was this case with Kate Cox, this woman, she had a pregnancy that has trisomy 8. She's like a genetic disorder, chromosomal disorder or whatever. And so most babies, if the pregnancy goes to full term and they actually deliver, the babies are born for a few hours and then excruciating pain and then die. But most of them terminate on their own. So hers was already terminating. The doctor's like, this is a non-viable pregnancy, but in Texas I can't remove this until you start showing signs that you're dying, and then that's when I can intervene. So So she had a she said, okay. So she talks to the doctor. She's like, if I continue with this pregnancy, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just like in my head goes to like, fuck you. You want to pop a pimple before it gets too big.
Yeah.
Or too bad.
Yeah.
But you're willing to play around with human life.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these women are actually like getting to the point, and so she talks to the doctor. She's like, well, if Texas won't allow me to just terminate the pregnancy, what's going to happen? Well, one, you may not be able to have kids anymore. If this pregnancy continues any further, you may not be able to have kids, or if it gets too bad, your life is going to be in danger.
Yeah.
And that's when I can step in without any problems. But right now, you're not in imminent, like you're not in complete danger. So that's the cause that I'm like really like.
Well, yeah, you were there.
I was there.
You know, and when you say narrowly escaped, it's like it's two sides of a different coin.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you were. It's like, you know, I get. How do you say it? Like, it's not emotional, but you feel a lot of empathy, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what they're going through, how scary it is, how frightened, you know. Mm-hmm. You don't, it's not your choice to do this, but it's also for your health.
Right.
But now there's
these laws. And then when I talk to people about it, they're like, wow, women are aborting a ton of babies a day. And I'm like, yeah.
A ton a day?
A ton a day. Yeah. And did you realize that until somebody gave you some weird stats that I don't even know where they're coming from to tell you that? Like, you wouldn't know.
Where'd they find 2,000 pounds of babies?
Yeah, 2,000. Yeah, exactly. Like,
a ton of babies.
Yeah,
it's that guy that's in the dead babies in the garage joke. Have you heard that one?
No.
Well, we don't need to talk about it. It's one of those old ones that you'd hear in like elementary school, middle school, you know.
I accuse my tax guy of that. He's so like, I have this guy that's been doing my taxes for over like 20 years. Yeah. And he comes over to my house, he'll sit down, he'll like, you know, whatever. We have like this, but I've never met his family. Like I've never, so I'm like, dude, you could have like dead bodies in a basement.
You have no idea.
I have no idea. so yeah, thank you for allowing me to speak on that, because that's one of the things that like I said,
I didn't know any of that. Did you know those specifics?
To an extent, yeah, to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can get someone pregnant.
Yeah,
I can. I'm
Chantel
capable.
can't get me pregnant, so
I
don't think about it a lot.
Oh, you don't? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and the thing about like IVFs. Did you hear about IVF? Right. So do you know about the IVF stuff going on in Alabama? So in Alabama, some families, they, you know, IVF, you end up.
They're only letting you do it if it's with your sister.
Yeah, because it's Alabama.
That makes sense.
No. Like in Alabama, they're saying that a fertilized embryo, is a human life, is a child. Mm-hmm. So if the IVF clinics accidentally if one of those
frozen ones,
the frozen ones terminate, then the IVF clinics could be held liable for like manslaughter. Or like the death of a child or something like that, in a minor, the death of a minor.
So if they have a blackout and their freezers go down.
Yeah. They literally,
then they're going to jail for life.
Literally in Alabama, the biggest IVF clinic in Montgomery ended up closing shop and ended up moving all those embryos out of state, because if they die in that state, they're going to be held liable.
That's such a crazy liability to have. Yeah. Your assumption of risk is way too high.
Yeah. And then it's just crazy. So then there's families that wanted to have babies, and they can't have babies in Alabama through IVF because of this law. Damn. So I'm like, it's weird because people are doing this. It's like an evolution of abortion bans. They're like, women's bodies need to have babies. And so anyway, let's move on to a funner topic.
All right. So I do have a little bit of a funnier talk. Tits. All right. So yeah, you're Let's Talk Lola. You guys are always going over fun topics, relationship topics, men, women, gender dynamics, gender roles. I wanted to play a little game with you, I wanted to try a little segment called Let's Talk Medium. Cool. I got a couple questions. I want to see what your philosophical outtake is on it.
Okay, let's go.
All right. So if women always win arguments, who wins in a lesbian relationship?
Oh, Chantel.
It didn't have to be mine.
It could have been any other one. You didn't have to tell everybody I was a loser.
You know what's funny, Lola, is I think that's the right answer for her scenario.
I
Anyway.
feel like
So,
it's the absolutely
Lola's
wrong
answer is the Latina.
Latina.
Yes, 100%.
Latina, the person of color in that relationship.
I never get to win. I'm too
Sit
white.
down, Weddle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You already, you lost. You're winning at life. What do you need?
Yeah. I don't deserve it anyway.
I've always thought those questions were always so funny. Like, oh, which one of you guys is the dude? And I'm like, honestly, like, you know, some people would be like, oh, Melissa is because, you know, like muscles, whatever.
Yeah, look
I'm
at
like,
those guts.
I'm
Did
like,
you see
Right?
those?
yo, Chantel kills the bugs. If there's a spider, I'm like, come spider. I freak out. So you know, we trade off. It's a baton we pass.
Yeah, no, I've always they always say that the lipstick and the butch, right?
Yeah.
And well, yeah, maybe you're the butch.
I don't think I am though. You know what I mean?
You're
Like I'm
not.
pretty average.
Yeah,
I'm like
you're-
an athlete, like
Yeah,
tomboy
yeah,
athlete.
yeah.
All right. I watched this show on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like reality TV?
A little bit, yeah. I haven't watched a lot of TV lately, but
What do you play with? What do you like reality TV?
Which reality TV shows I like? I was just watching like 90 Day Fiance, but I'm
Okay.
way behind.
Okay.
go ahead.
Have you watched those, Melissa?
No.
They are insane.
Insane.
They are absolutely insane. It's a good. You guys would like it.
Is there
Yeah.
a season you recommend?
No, there isn't. But do you have a recommended season?
I've just got through season 1, and I'm kind of behind because I've watched it off and on. And I started watching season 1 again, and I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is crazy!"
Yeah.
I think season 1 is the best because it's like the starting. Nobody knows what you're getting yourself into. when
Yeah,
you're
the
watching
guys
it.
make me cringe the entire time. I can't. I
Oh.
can like barely handle
They're
it.
so creepy. So here, real quick, there's this topic called passport bros. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
What is
Passport
it?
brothers. So men that are having a hard time with Western women and dating Western women will go into other countries and find themselves girlfriends or wives, and then bring them back. That's what 90 Day Fiance is kind of about. Is like going to another country. And getting a wife from there and then bringing her back stateside.
Gotcha.
It's almost to the point of mail order bread.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
It is. The 90 Day Fiance is based off of like this visa. I don't remember what the visa is, but it's a visa that allows for a U.S. citizen to bring in somebody from another country, and they have 90 days to marry them. Within the when they bring them in, they have 90 days. Otherwise, the visa expires and they have to go back to their country. So that's why it's called 90 Day Fiance. And there's women that do that too. And there was one woman that brought in this really handsome guy, like from like the Middle East. I was like, oh my gosh. And then she was kind of like this. And the whole show, he just kept talking so badly about her. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, he probably doesn't think
Yeah.
she deserves rights.
Yeah, and that's right.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, it's like that's happening to almost every relationship on the show. Is the person that is? It's usually like a rich girl that's just like, I want this and this and this and this, and these guys will bend over backwards for them. Yeah, it's so pathetic.
Yeah. It's fun. So anyway, so I don't know why we got
That's
into
kind
that.
of
Oh, reality TV.
Yeah.
TV. Yeah.
That's kind of like the climate around reality TV lately is like people signing up to be completely and utterly objectified. Right?
Definitely.
Which is crazy to me because I don't consider myself someone, I guess, someone that has low self-esteem. I'm not the most confident person in the world.
Right.
But if you threw me into a lineup with 10 other people and someone was like, you, not you, get the fuck out of here. Right?
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God, I'm disgusting.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And
So
we watched a show on Peacock called From Couple to Thruple.
Oh,
Have you
how
seen?
No, the closest I have to the whole throuple idea is what's that show? What was that show that was Tiger Joe?
Oh, Tiger King.
Tiger King.
I
Tiger
never watched
King.
that.
Oh, you didn't? That was good.
You never watched
That
Tiger
was-
King?
I was, you know me,
What were you doing during COVID, dude?
streaming.
That's wild. Tiger King. Come on, Tiger King. That was a phenomenon. I was just
Now,
saying-
the show had couples.
Okay.
Married couples, people who've been together for like 9+ years. You know, they had, heterosexual couples. They had gay dudes, which to me, like, I felt like the gay dudes were the most synonymous with a throuple. Like, it just
Yeah.
made the most. But
Yeah.
there was a couple that was married for like 9+ years, and all of a sudden they're like, we want to invite a third.
So it was a male-female couple.
Yeah.
That wanted. Okay.
They wanted another
Go
female.
on. You have another female.
I was waiting for one of these dudes to pick a dude, because there was some really handsome gay dudes, like bisexual dudes, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Right? And all of the heterosexual couples picked women.
Yeah.
So,
Sucks.
and that's, let's go back to toxic masculinity for a
Right.
second. That's probably up in that type of,
Yes. Yeah.
era.
Uh-huh.
But, what do you think about that? Do you think a couple that's been together in the dynamic of two, just a stereotypical, what's the word, nuclear style relationship?
Yeah.
Do you think they can just flip the coin, add a third, and then everything's peachy peachy?
I don't think so. I actually know a comedy couple that they're in an open relationship.
Oh.
And they've been together for 9 years. And they're probably the happiest people I've ever met. Right?
Really?
Like couple, they love each other. They're so loving to each other. They look at each other adoringly all the time. It's really cute.
And they get to do it with other
And
people.
then they get one of the girls, she was on my show and she was like, oh yeah, sometimes like her boyfriend was saying, he's all like, yeah, sometimes when I see her getting ready for another dude, I just want to grab her before he gets her. And then he hooks up with her and then he sends her off into the to the abyss to go into the wilderness. But it's but
that broke my brain.
Isn't that wild, right?
Like, I'm like, to think about Chantel getting ready to go see another fucking person, I would.
Yeah, you would be like, no, that takes a certain kind of energy though. Like you have to, and the only reason I say that,
I don't have the highest self-esteem.
Yeah, that's difficult to do though.
You have to be very, very confident in yourself and your partner.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard he's swinging. I heard he's just swinging it like
She's like, gotta tie it down.
Yeah. So that's why. But the reason I don't think that couple would do it is because it's if they've been together like in one dynamic for so long, and now it's
how
just
do you
because
switch the flip? Flip the switch.
And I think it's just kind of one of those last ditch efforts. Like you just don't know what else to do, so you're just whatever, desperate.
That show, it's been crazy as far as like I was telling because we're watching it. It's like we throw on. Like, I don't like, I mean, it is what it is, a trash TV, right?
Yeah,
when we're cooking dinner and stuff. And then we'll put on our actual series when we're sitting down watching.
Oh, nice.
Right? But that show, it's like, they have 4 couples. And then they have 10 singles. And the singles, they mingle. And then they step down. They're like, okay, we want this one, right? And then they get to keep them or swap them. So then the next time they, they have their person, they've been hanging out, they've been making out, whatever. And then they're like, you know what? We want to try that one out instead. And they just keep on. And the objectification of people is just crazy there.
Yeah. So it's like a game show though, but objectifying people.
Yep.
And like a swinger club on a swingers club on a stage or something. Like on TV. Wow, that's crazy.
It's a trip. We were super interested in it for a second. I like trash TV. It's fun for me because I live. How you were saying like, oh, you grew up so repressed and like you would blush when your friends say things. I still blush, and we always joke because like if he says something or even Chantel, like I'll be like the dudes and the prude. You know what I mean? Like they can have that dude humor, and I'm just like, what are you guys saying? We don't do that,
Yeah. No, I know. Sometimes when you do comedy, I'm like, that's the angriest, like, self-hating lesbian because you're so...
I'm all mad about being gay. Yeah, I'm like, fuck, this is stupid.
I wish I wasn't. And I was like, what? Chantel, you're listening to this? She still likes it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, just, to throw it being Middle Eastern, and they just don't fucking mesh,
it's just different. Yeah, it's
the
just
culture,
difficult. Yeah.
It sucks. All right, next question. Husband and wife, right?
This is right up my alley.
If a wife wants to peg her husband and he says yes, is that gay?
Well, if she wants to, put it in
the butt?
In the butt? Oh, the little butt action?
Like a kink. People have kinks. If a husband and a wife has the kink to peg.
Nah, she's gay.
She's gay.
She flipped it.
She wanted to peg. She's gay. She's gay. He's just being a good husband. Let's see if she's gonna do all that thrusting action, like it's a lot of action, right?
Yeah.
I've imagined it.
Yeah, it takes effort.
It went in your head.
Like, yeah, hey, she's gay.
There was this really funny show that I like called Broad City. It's like the female version I'd consider like Workaholics or whatever, you know.
My sister keeps telling me I need to watch that show.
It's so funny.
It's on my list. Yeah,
it's so funny. And one of the episodes, she has like a crush on one of the guys in her apartment complex, and she finally goes on a date with him, and the first thing he asks her to do is to peg him. And she's all, oh my God, do I do it? And she, you know, she freaks out, goes to her friend, and her friend's like, yeah, you fucking do it. If a man tells you to fuck him in the butt, you
could do it. You could do it for all of us sisters.
But the joke, like the episode, it gets so much funnier because she does it, and then she, like, you know, he leaves for work, whatever, she puts it in the dishwasher, and then she goes to do it again, like, it melts.
Yeah.
So she finds the same butt thingy online, you know, gets it, and then does it with him again. He's like, this isn't the same one.
He got rather attached.
His butt was able to tell.
That's a talent right there.
Connor, can you?
No, I'm okay. I'll stay away from that.
That's fun. I think men are. It's kind of funny because men are so against like any, like most men, not all men, right? Not Broad City guy.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of men that are kind of like, if they do any kind of butt stuff, they're like, no, that's too gay, and so they don't want to do it. That's my male impression.
They turn into like English, like an English aristocrat. No, sir, that is too gay, sir. I cannot touch that butthole.
Sounds like Timmy.
No, I'm with you.
Or Oliver, what is that? Oliver, like, yes, ma'am, can I have some more? That was your accent.
That's so silly.
So men are like that. They kind of get really, like, I think men have a harder time proving their sexuality than women do.
Yeah.
Like, women can be more fluid, like jump around, you know, and do whatever. And then men, if they do something that's kind of gay, then they're like forever labeled gay.
Yeah,
which is kind of weird. Which is kind of weird. I met this guy comic. I'm not gonna name it, but hopefully you'll get him on the show one day, right? And he told me, he's like, yeah, I sucked a dick before, and I'm like, you sucked a dick? He's like, yeah, I just wanted to see if I was gay.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that is quite the extreme.
Yeah, I respect it though. You know, he went for it.
No, yeah. I was impressed too, because I'm all like, that is pretty extreme to find out if you're gay or not, but I don't hate it. Women do that all the time. Women have their bi-curious moments. Like a lot of women will say that I've hooked up with other women, and I'm like, darn it, I'm not gay. I was like, I really wanted to be gay. I just wasn't. I was like, I know. I want to be opposite of me. Yeah. That's what like, Melissa, you're in the cool. I'm not even that cool. I'm not that cool. But no, I did meet. Like, there was a time where I was like, men are so fucking trash and all this stuff. And so I started dating women, and I just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, this guy sucking a dick to find out, I was like, wow, that's impressive. Like, kudos to that.
Yeah, I give him kudos, but I wouldn't go on that path. I didn't need to. I just knew.
Yeah, but then when I tell other men, I go, yeah, he sucked a dick to see if he was gay. He's like, if you suck a dick, you're gay. That's it. There's no coming back from that. And I go, no, he says he's not gay. And then the comic went up to, you sucked a dick to see if you were gay, and you're not gay? Yeah, I'm not gay. No. Like, it was total mindfuck for him. He was like, you could see how earnestly like confused he was. He was like, no.
Well, it is extreme, right? Because again, most people can figure it out. Like, you know, you meet a cool guy, and he doesn't give you butterflies, so that's it. You didn't need to throw your mouth on him to figure that out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
Like, girls gave me butterflies, so I had a feeling that when I went down on a girl, it would continuously give me butterflies. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be like a flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I couldn't do it. Yeah, no,
my neck was sore the next day. You know what I mean?
Okay, I don't mind.
That's the worst.
I was like, fuck it.
I can. This is where I step out of the conversation, because I'm like, I never experienced that.
See, so you dated girls, but you never went down
on them. I didn't go down. Like, I didn't have to go down on them to know.
You figured out the butterflies weren't there.
I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
You're just.
Yeah, what is all this is? Well, get it? And I wanted to so bad.
Now, how do I choke on this?
Yeah, I need to hit the back of my throat. I have a tickle. I need it, and this isn't gonna do it. So yeah. That was fun. That was fun hearing that from a guy. But most guys don't. And as soon as I tell a guy that he was gay, I'm like, he says he's not. And I've seen him date women, and he loves them, and they love him, and so it is what it is. You know,
That's so fucking funny.
that is an extreme though, huh? Going that far.
Yeah.
I mean, I just went right into the bedroom, did a little finger action, but that's about as far as I got.
You're like, this is slimy.
Can we get this off of me?
Wiping it off. Can I get this off of me? Oh, Lola, you were so much fun.
Sorry.
This episode comes out on Tuesday, so in a couple days.
Okay.
Where can the people find you?
So I'll be at the Lobby in Riverside. Check that place out. The Lobby Riverside in downtown Riverside. It's a great spot. You have to buy the tickets online on Eventbrite, and it's like 20 people fit. That's it. I mean, 20 people is a lot.
It is a cool room.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. Good
it's a
drinks.
spot,
Good
yeah.
food.
Oh, the drinks are so good.
Yeah.
And the food. Yeah. I love the drinks. I love the food. It's a really cool spot. It's just that very intimate setting.
Yeah.
So if you want to go, which I suggest you go because I got a killer lineup, then you have to get on Eventbrite, get your tickets now.
And it's her anniversary show.
3 years, baby.
Go. That's so dope. And that's on March 27th.
March 27th, Wednesday, March 27th.
Cool.
And then, just follow me on Instagram, Lola the Surba, because I'm a Southern belle.
Yes, ma'am.
I say that to everybody, Sur, because I'm like, Mexico Southern. Not Confederate flag.
We're going to put that right here for people to be able to find you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So follow me on there to find out all my other shows.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I had so much fun. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day.
You too. Thank you.
This was such a blast.
So this isn't just fungus?
No. I just put a little food coloring in your beer.
I was like, fungus Melissa doing
To be festive.
And still because it's Modelo. I'm like, I'm going to drink it
It's
anyway.
a Mexican beer, yeah. We made a Mexican leprechaun beer.
Because it was free, I still drank it. So.
Hell yeah.
All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. I got a couple shows coming up at the beginning of next month, so find me on Instagram. I'll be in Riverside and in Ontario.
Sweet.
How do you say it? Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Why did she ask Connor about hasta luego?
Lola, how do you say it?